All right. Hi, everyone. Back here again with Tom Althouse. This is Stephen Yisel. And yeah, it's been about another month since we talked, and lots happened since then. There's been a lot of rituals in the mainstream media, all their award shows and bread and circuses, and new updates on uh, big actors in Hollywood. I guess you can say the main players instead of actors. But yeah, lots developed in just a short month, and I want to catch up with you, Tom, and see how you're doing.
hmm
And yeah, how's your uh past month been?
very, very eventful. There's a lot going on, and it touches the borders of what's in our own reality and what could be part of even a spiritual realm. It's just unbelievable what's going on. Everything seems to be converging. And we were able to make a trip to Maui to get crucial evidence that's been contested and fought over, and was able to secure it. We had to do some measures to make sure that would happen. And so it was a quite eventful trip. But it turned up some stuff that's absolutely blow away, and that actually includes the old discs where the original story was written. These very old discs with even
Oh,
the final
nice.
programs. Look at that. This is what the Matrix story was written on, Immortals, and here it is, the Immortals, time stamped on these old things right there. It can't be denied. So in 92, 93, such, it's all there. Where the other side has been contesting that, it hasn't been done until 96, because that's when the Wachowskis first have recorded record of anything written in 96 after my materials were submitted in 93. So it was a big battle over trying to make it. I had nothing before 96. And it's even in the emails from their attorneys. And so here we have this, which is really part of the pile of stuff they were trying to get and destroy. So they've actually destroyed a number of screenplays using Honeypot Wife, attorneys infiltrating, contacting people, and trying to get them to turn, where pre-1996 screenplay drafts were being wiped out, including The Poor Man's Packet. So they did this whole espionage thing to try to destroy all evidence. And now we've got not only these original program discs, where it was actually composed in full, we actually have the original scripts in hard copy form too, with original notations, like to my friend Greg, who is, we won't have to read that right now, but the original full screenplay to Greg in 93. And this is the first introductory sending of it, where it's written right on there to him, where he sent it back to me with his notes also, um, which prove this was all done in 93,
Wow.
complete. So we've got them now. We've got them so much. Now I got tons of drafts, because you can imagine the old word brother processor from way back in Stone Age. To do work on the old brother word processor, you got to be committed, and you're going to have tons of drafts working on that kind of system. And I do. So they destroyed a number of them, but they don't have all these programs and everything else, which Greg sent, that proves. Keep in mind that they tried to write a second installment of the Matrix franchise, and they failed. So therefore, when they had my screenplay, they rushed in and copied it basically right off the charts. All the similarities, everything in Matrix 2 and 3 on set, and they even kept the exact same ending, arguing with everybody, we're gonna keep the exact same ending. And when everyone else said blow it up. What's important to realize is that in their attempt to do a second one off of my work, away from it, to steal it that way, when they were insisting a second form be made, they entered in Neo as Thomas A. And my friend Greg, who I had finished submitting everything with, perfecting the battle sequences, they decided to put Gregory in as Tom A's nemesis. So in the second rendering they try to make, they put Tom A as Neo and a clone offshoot of Tom A named Gregory, who's supposed to destroy him. My friend I did the battle sequences with, who has all this stuff, sent all these materials back to me, and is who I wrote to, and there's his notes. He worked for the Hallmark Channel. Greg.
Wow.
So that shows you how stupid they are to go so far as, like what we said, when they put in what my actual birthday, like we said on Animatrix 7259. the age. So that's how stupid the Wachowskis are, that they would put all these inserts, including my high school, Central West High, and everything else, in the original work, but they're counting on audiences not to get it. So that's what we're doing, Stephen. We're focusing on audiences that actually use critical thinking, and the rest can shoo fly away, do whatever they want. But we're going to work with people who actually have a brain. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really amazing. You got those the zip drive and the floppy disks, and seeing that original logo of Final Draft on there.
Yeah, that's right.
That's because I recognize that program.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
wow.
And look at this. This says this Immortals. It has the date on it too. It actually has, it's labeled extra programs and documents besides the Immortals full screenplay.
Wow.
That's the notes too, from way back, preceding 96, before Matrix is laid first to paper. So yeah, we got them. That's just some of it. That's just the icing on the cake. Remember that thing with Neo where he wears the tie and the white shirt? And in the first thing you see of him in his dossier, the first thing they shot in the interrogation scene, which has my high school, my birthday, my dad's name, my name, all that's in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Including Operation Northwoods and 9/11. Here is my ID from Pat Robertson's Regent University before I wrote the screenplay, right before I wrote it. And I'm dressed with a white shirt and a black tie. Not many people dress that way, but that's me in my photo ID, which they copied off of to make Neo's same dress the same way.
Wow.
Yeah. That's just some of it. We got so much evidence now, we're calling it a gold mine. So now we've got all the stuff they've been fighting. That's why they were so persistent on contacting people on Maui, friends of mine, saying, you know, where's the stuff? Do you have Tom Althouse stuff? Do you know where it is? Their attorneys were making these calls to individuals on Maui, desperate to find this evidence so they could destroy that evidence. And now we have it. That's how it's turned now. That's what this last month has been like, just part of it.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean that, and also that's a lot more evidence that you didn't have like available for you before. Like you
That's
knew it
right.
was out there, but like
Mhm.
for you to get that in your hands now, I mean, that's really significant.
And what's interesting too, I agree, is that we got the clue by their pushing, for these materials. They always let us know what they want and they fear most. And so we move. What did they not want us to do? To have a copy of the original screenplay. They did not want to have a copy, for those that have never seen this before, of this. Now they're calling it a forgery. How can this be a forgery when it's bolted, gold sealed, blue ribboned, signed by Claggart, the director of the Copyright Office, and the specialist, both? How that original signatures, how could that be a forgery? That's going pretty brazen. But now when I'm asking these same people for a copy, a pristine copy of this for the documentary, they will not give it to me. They've been contacted. So now the Copyright Office will not give us our work certified anymore. They don't want us to have a clean copy because they're ordered not to by Hollywood. So the Copyright Office is working under Hollywood's direction and the attorneys for Hollywood. Can you believe that? That's what's going on. So I have paid for it. They said that I paid for it. They said, yes, you order a certified copy, but we're not giving it to you, even though you paid for it. I give you the Copyright Office. Thank God we beat him to the punch. When Tony Rankin, the attorney from Maui, who's classmates with Warner Brothers' lead attorney, he bragged about being, within a suspended license, said you'd only find 8 pages of scribbled notes at the Copyright Office. Yeah, because they knew they were in their pocket. So we moved right away before Veronica Patton, supervising copyright specialist, and Karen Temple Claggart, acting United States Register of the Copyright and Director of the Copyright Office, got the message not to help us. We moved before they got the message and got this. The story can't get better.
You know why I went to Hollywood in the past week?
No. Wow.
Florida. In Florida, though.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they're secondary Hollywood. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was visiting family out there, and a little away from that town. But I went to a Walmart over in Hollywood, Florida,
Sure.
and I usually walk by the in-store salesmen that are trying to get your attention to like sign up for a like a discounted phone rate and all that stuff. But I figured I humored this one worker there that like called out to me to have conversation and try to do a sales pitch with me. But I mentioned what I do for a living, and I mentioned that I've been interviewing you, and I named you by name,
Right.
and he knew who you were.
Wow.
His eyes got wide and his jaw dropped,
Hmm.
and then I elaborated further, and I'm like, yeah, he's the original writer of what became the Matrix.
Right.
And he called his coworker over and was like, and wanted like them to see me and tell them that like I've interviewed you, and they knew
Wow.
too who you were.
Wow. Wow. So that's the thing. We've been shadow banned so much, but everybody's finding out about the story thanks to you
Hmm.
and other folks that have the courage to do it. And even my son, when he goes to school, like I said, he'll have students walk up to him that he's never known saying, I've seen my parents and I've seen your dad on TV. My parents have seen, it's really incredible what you're doing. That's his own schoolmates that he's never met because of broadcasts going out across the
Wow.
globe. Yeah. So we did a Twitter thing where it got maybe all my other Twitters get maybe like 1 share, 2 views. Well, they forgot to shadow ban this one. The one they didn't shadow ban, they forgot to, and that got like 798 retweets alone. So it's like you can imagine how far that spread. 798 retweets. That's quite a bit from the standard 1 view, 2 views. In fact, my Facebook page for Matrix Redeemed shows 0 views, 0 likes, 0 comments, where people are going, we can't get through, we can't make a comment. My website struck. So there's a desperation on the other side to shut this down. But what you just shared about the Walmart story, that really does hit it home. What's going on is people know they're catching on, and the other side's panicked.
Yeah, and like it's all out there. I know there's other interviews you've done. It's gotten like tens of thousands of views in just a matter of days.
Mm-hmm.
So the spread of your story is definitely getting out there, even if it's not reflecting on YouTube in the analytics right now.
Right. Right.
But I mean my view counts on this channel, it's gone back down to that like 200 views every 48 hours,
Goodness gracious. Yeah.
and it's really low right now. But
Yeah.
number 2, the most watched video is our original interview
How
back
about that?
in May of last year.
So they
And
couldn't
that,
hit that one.
yeah,
They couldn't hit that one early enough. See, that's probably it. I had a host yesterday, um, another great guy like yourself named Matt. He actually named his program like Matthew Matrix or something like that, or something like that. And it was like before we even had met. And so it was like, wow, that's synchronistic. But he said that before we did the show yesterday, I had like 5,000 friends, like max friends on Facebook, right? That were following this stuff. They can't make comments often on the other site. Well, before we did the show, I lost a friend. It said I lost a friend out of the 5,000. So I was down to 4,999. And guess who it was? It was Matt. What happened was he didn't drop me. I didn't drop him. But Facebook ended that friendship. They dropped him as if I dropped him before the show. So it makes you think, like, why out of one guy who's a host and we're about to do a show, why would he be defriended when it wasn't by me or by him? So he couldn't send me content. And so what happened was I had to reinstitute him. Now he shared a thing onto my site of his site program going to be airing. It wouldn't go through to me. So I had to do it myself. So that's what's going on. Emails, everything else. They're
you know,
so desperate right now.
I noticed that since we've first been sharing emails, last year, we've switched, or at least on your end, we've switched which email that we send
Yes,
stuff back and forth to.
right.
And I was wondering if that was something too along the lines of that, because I was sending out emails to that original email and then I wasn't getting anything back.
Same thing.
So
It's like resetting the calibration on your weapons on Star Trek to defeat the Borg. It's like you have to keep alterating this, the frequency. It's like
yeah.
that's what's going on. There is such a battle right now to stop this information from coming out. Because what do we have? We've got the original. I mean, look at it. We've got the original screenplay, and it's totally confirmed. And these people are now the ones that sent this are being shut down from sending any new ones. That means something if the copyright office is shut down from sending the work to the author because Hollywood doesn't want it. And so, you consider that all that we have, including what the Wachowskis inserted, which is why they have to be women, all the things they inserted on the original author, they've got a real problem on their hands. So the best they can do now is that they can't talk people from defriending. They'll make it look like I'm defriending them. They're that desperate. So yeah, this has all come to a head now, where I'm so glad you shared about the Walmart story, because I think that does cap it home. That's what's going on. People know they want to know more. So the mainstream media is saying, no, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Don't pay anything behind the man behind the curtain. Don't look, where we have the answers. And they're afraid of certain combinations being arranged. They're afraid of certain combinations of people bringing the word out where it becomes palatable for the audiences to understand and see the evidence. They don't want people using their critical thinking. But they've tried the shills, they've tried the shadow banning, they've tried the, talk people away. They've had their attorneys badgering people. Hasn't stopped, hasn't worked. They must feel like, a little boy with a pea shooter that just isn't stopping the army. So, yeah.
So also I noticed that uh I'll just call her SS.
Yeah, that'll work for me.
She's not basically in the cognitive lexicon of people that are digging into this stuff with us.
She's being left by the wayside.
Yeah.
She's
Like
run
she's
her
being
course.
forgotten about, and
She's
I
run
think
her
it's
course.
better off.
Yeah, I think so. That's kudos to the people out there too, catching on, because when a person declares, we shouldn't even give her airtime probably, but when a person such as SS declares that she owns the trademark of the Matrix name, well, that's not hers. She didn't come up with that. In fact, the Wachowskis weren't even supposed to use that. They weren't supposed to come up with it on purpose because there was what we showed you, the 349 certain subtitles under Immortals, right? So
Mhm.
Warner Brothers is copyrighting the Immortals title without the body of work, and they have all these subtitles for the Wachowskis to pick from. And they decide to slap the face by rearranging the Immortals letters and adding an X. It's not really that clever, guys. And so we have SS then claiming that that's her creation and trademark because no one's claimed it. So what's really interesting is that there was a hole there by Warner Brothers saying, bad Wachowskis, don't use Matrix. That's the wrong title. Use one of the ones we set up that we went and used and insiders, the copyright office, to set up for us to use. But no, they didn't want to. They were mad about Assassins that another writer was brought in. So Sophia SS steps in and claims it. Well, then if she claimed it as her trademark and bragged about it, saying she's worth millions now, why was Matrix 4 shot? What? Well, she wasn't on the project. Why was Matrix 4 shot if she's claiming she's worth millions and owns the trademark of Matrix?
Yep.
See her in the credits.
And for the
She's
new
on the
people,
wayside.
for the people tuning in now, and I suggest you go back and watch our other interviews to get caught up on everything. But this was a paid shill that tried to sabotage everything, and basically,
Insider at Warner Brothers. Yeah.
yeah, they were trying to basically erase Tom's footprint in the industry, and this was one of the people they tried to do that with.
By formulating or creating a first claimant, they take D players, failed writers. She's a failed writer. And her manuscript was 30 pages called The Third Eye. Her company is called, it's not even a screenplay, it's 30 pages of Google gobbledygook. of the Bible and Star Wars mixed together. That's plagiarism of the top sources. And then what you have is her claim of her company that she is the owner, producer, and director of All Eyes on Me. She calls me an egomaniac. Her company's called All Eyes on Me. I would say that's kind of an egotistic thing. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would say. So that's what we got. That's what we were looking at. Is somebody who's a first claimant, so that people would say, well, this has already been done. It's already been claimed. That was the whole setup. And they always take them from basically University of Southern California. Isn't that something? They like to use the same alumni. So the same party from University of Southern California that Warner Brothers used, Joel Silver also uses University of Southern California for Altered Carbon. The director of Altered Carbon pulls out a failed writer, Greek lady, to be Altered Carbon's director, where he uses the very premise of the Immortals. What's the premise? The rich in the future have immortality, the poor is used as pawns in an immortal program. And that they're calling the greatest sci-fi concept ever. Under Joel Silver, after he stole the work and threw the case through a planted attorney from Warner Brothers, who was suspended license, case thrown, did everything to derail it, worked on destroying evidence. After that's thrown, he does Altered Carbon with the very premise, rich in the future have immortality, the poor is used as pawns. And the audacity to claim is the greatest concept ever. After he had all my notes and all these different drafts. That's how bad it is. So yeah, so you're right. SS is on the wayside. She's no longer needed. It's going to irk her. It's going to make her really angry. Because it's, what is their company? All Eyes on Me. Well, right now she should change her title to No One's Interested About Me. Owner, writer, producer.
Yeah, like, do you think they're gonna try to push forward another like puppet like that to
Oh, they already are. It's a great point. Yes, they are. They got this guy out in California now. Oh my God. They tried, first of all, with Paul Anderson. And he'll throw a hissy fit, but he's with Marvel Comics. And Marvel Comics was the ones that they were first trying to launder through with the Wachowskis to the comic book version of my work, right? And so he's come forward in email after email, text after text saying, let's write a blend of Cypherman and Immortals. Meanwhile, people were saying just before that, it's Cypherman people that were ripped off. Hello, Cypherman is in-house at Warner Brothers and Marvel Comics and Disney. So if they're in-house, how can you say they're being ripped off in-house? They're brought in-house to steal the work. And so what that was short-lived because of all the texts and messages and emails from the Cyphermen guys saying, let's write a blend of Immortals and Cypherman. Why are they doing that? If I'm a know-nothing hack, why are they sending me all these information, which I have the emails, I have the texts, be part of the documentary. I can show them now. So why are they sending them to me? If there's nothing to be seen here, if the work wasn't taken from. They're going back to the original source, the Immortals, saying, let's do a blend, so the public doesn't see the Immortals intact, untainted, where you see all the matchups. So a push now by the insiders, even the Cyphermen guys, is to say, let's do a blend so you don't see the matchups. Nice try. But there's now a new guy, and they're trying to make it like he's like, I think they're trying to make it a sham on purpose, make it look like a sham, so it looks like me like a sham. So they've got this guy looks like he's basically homeless out in California, Hollywood, California, who's now coming forward. And I guess they're thinking that'll tug at the heartstrings or something, saying that he is the guy. He contacted me, saying he's the guy that wrote this. But it gets better, Stephen. They got guys coming to me also who work for the FBI. We found out their emails and messages to others that they're with the FBI that are claiming that they sent me all this creativity. They channeled it all through me. So now they're trying to, I guess they figure people might buy that. So now they're trying to say that that all this was channeled through me, that I didn't create it. They created it through me in some kind of mystical, otherworldly telepathic way. That's how desperate they are, right? We're going to buy that for a second. Yeah, they actually tell me.
not here? I mean, yeah, it's
They're
kind of
desperate.
pathetic. It's pathetic to see how they're still trying to
Hello, those stupid.
salvage whatever they can with this.
That's it. The Wachowskis blew it, period. When they did that, when they put my birthday, my dad's name, my high school, my Scottish clan name, all that into the first graphic, and then put my name across the screen in Animatrix, Tom Althouse across the screen, backwards in Animatrix. What? It's like now we're got a mathematician that we've contacted for the documentary who's going to compute the probabilities of having the original author, not the trash man, not the postman, the original author of the piece who has the copyright. What are the odds of having his birthday in the first graphic? Compute that. Now layer in, what are the odds of having his birthday and his high school? Compute that. Then the odds of probability for the next thing. What are the odds of having his birthday, high school, and in dad's name in the first graphic of Neo? Let's go one step further. Now let's compute the odds and the probability of having his high school, dad's name, birthday, and his name in it. And then go further. What's the odds of having his birthday, high school, dad's name, his name, and his exact birthday with his age on the clock in Animatrix? And go further. What's the probability of having his high school? See the nausea of this? High school, birthday, dad's name, his name, birthday on the clock exactly with his age, and his name across the screen backwards. What's the probability? Is there a mathematical equivalent that even matches up to the probability? That's like winning the lottery how many times over? And it's the original author who owns the copyright? Come on, people, wake the hell up. Don't prove to Hollywood you're stupid. Don't prove to them. Show them you're smart. And tell the shills to shut the hell up. And tell SS, yeah, you're done. All eyes on me.
You know, if anybody wants to look up what the Wachowski brothers are doing now, IMDb shows nothing after 2021. And it's for their little number 4 of their ripoff.
And question, is Plastic Man made yet?
Nope.
Carnivore? Carnivore and Plastic Man is what they came to Hollywood with. It's the only original material they had. Everything else is offshoots of this script or rehashes like Speed Racer and V for Vendetta. Those are rehashes. So the only original work he had was our Cloud Atlas, our stuff.
Can you elaborate more on V for Vendetta? Because I don't think we talked about that too much.
V for Vendetta was a way for them to look like they had a body of work. So they were given a story. They didn't write it. It was given to them. A story from history. Like Speed Racer was a rehash, obviously. Insane. To make it look like they had a body of successful work. Remember, in 1995, the article said that their own words, they failed as writers in Hollywood. They'd have to pack their bags and leave unless they were given the Science Project to direct. This is the Science Project. You know why it didn't have a name? Why they call it the Science Project? Because whoever they chose would have to choose from those 349 subtitles under the Immortals. Who's on the copyright of the Immortals? Warner Brothers. And Dean Laurentiis, who wanted to dine the Wachowskis. Dean Laurentiis is on Assassins with the Wachowskis, where another writer had to be brought in to finish it because they failed at what they did. And what the writers said is, what was said to them was that because they got rid of the central sympathetic character, the love story, and turned so much violence into it, they basically ruined Assassins. So when they got permission to take this work right here, what did they do? They added the violence off the charts. They took away the sympathetic central character, and they took away the love story. Unless you consider sex in a Zion with a rave going on a love story. Bastards. Absolute bastards. The work that was meant for everyone to do their takes on, that I was going to open up for everyone. That's the way it's supposed to work. Instead, 2 failed. Everything they did failed. Painting, school, you name it, they failed at it, even writing. decided to do their take on it. And it was a bad one. What you have is all the concepts lifted, all the innovative scenes and iconic concepts now lifted, but they're all hodgepodge. They don't tie together. What did the Wachowskis say about that? It's not meant to tie together. Let audiences figure it out for themselves. We did not mean it to tie together. What the hell? Why were they given the work? Because they needed it in-house. Warner Brothers needed it in-house. So they took failed writers. Why did Dina Laurentiis wine and dine them? Promise them beautiful women and fame and success? Because they needed failed writers who still have not produced, even though they were considered successful now, still no one will touch Plastic Men and Carnivore, and they're still peddling it.
Yeah, I had been talking with, sorry if I'm changing the subject here.
No, the subject's ready to be changed. I mean,
All right.
it's
So
trampled.
I have,
Breaks
I
in the-
have a watcher of ours of the series, and he reached out to me to email and ask a few questions.
Sure.
So I figure I relay it on to you, but he okay, I'll just use his first name, James. He wanted to know if you heard about the movie from 2013 called Her, and
No.
so it stars Joaquin Phoenix, and it basically follows the story of a like a lonely guy living like alone and everything, and he decides to buy this like virtual like AI assistant type of thing like Siri, and it turns into this like this romance story that I guess turns
Big.
cold.
Right.
But he's there. Basically the guy's like falling in love with his Siri device, and
Can I give you first choice, just as you're bringing this up? What I would say is first choice Hollywood. As a writer, I know there's always, Stephen, first choice, and then you get into what the real layers are. But everybody's always sticks with the first choice. Here's first choice for Hollywood with what you just said. Suddenly the AI starts to become jealous and starts to turn on him because she's not paying enough attention to her. And that is first choice garbage. If they go that route and you tell me they went that route, that is first choice garbage. That is a shortcut to nonsense. If you want to go to an actual layers, as the writer of the Matrix story, The Immortals, would do, I would make it much more interesting, much more deeper, where there'd be all kinds of things going on, where the AI is actually torn. And you're not sure if she's going to be for him, against him, with him. There's a lot more going on than a simple scrape it off the shoe and stick it on the film of she gets jealous and turns on him. Please tell me I'm not right.
I have not watched it yet,
Okay.
but I think you are right. Just based off of like the standard tropes of everything.
And that's first choice. I call it first choice. And people, please feel free to use that term. That is first choice among writers. It shows bad writing. Because the first choice is your easy out, and I'll go play golf. Scrape it off the shoe, stick it on the film. There is so much deeper ways to go. When you tell me that, my mind kicks in. And there's so many deeper ways to go with that material. And I'm ashamed of them if they followed that way, that first choice way, because it's garbage. That is so predictable. It's too easy, and it's garbage. Feel bad for the actors.
Yeah, I'm looking at the plot synopsis right now, just to see if there's anything.
I hear from directors and writers all the time from Hollywood. Some of them try to pick my brain. And sometimes I'll give them things. It'll be like, it'll just pop for me. It's like drinking water for me, where Bloomcom, or whatever his name is, that ripped us off with Elysium, said writing for him is like pulling teeth. Why doesn't Disney and Hollywood use the writers that actually do conceive? Well, because we're not in-house, see? And so they don't think they control us. They can control us. They need people they can buy for pennies and keep the work in-house and hash it out. What was the Bible of the Wachowskis? They call it their Bible. Something that said like how to make $1 million in Hollywood without spending a dime, without losing a dime. $1 make B movies, make garbage that doesn't tie together, or rip off others that doesn't tie together, just lifting the image you think are cool and get credit for it, and then make your fortune off the insurance money and everything. And that's what they did with Matrix 4, I'm told. I won't watch it, it's garbage. But they used that to mock the author, original author, and slap back at Warner Brothers just to cash in because they knew people would come and see it. They didn't care about being good. They care at all about being good. They want to be more clever than the original author. So they want to slap the author's face. So a lot more of the pieces of the original work are in there badly done. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, I'm sick of Hollywood turning out first choice. Garbage.
There's a few connections between this movie's casting and another actor. So the AI is voiced by Scarlett Johansson,
Of course.
and she's in the Disney Marvel stuff.
Right, of course she is.
Jeremy Renner is also in the Disney Marvel stuff. I'm not sure if you've heard of anything recent with him, but this is another topic that listener James wanted to talk about. So Jeremy Renner actually had one of his sons almost get run over by a snowplow. I'm not making this up.
Oh my God. No way.
So let me just pull up a Google search of him real quick.
Lord.
But the parallel there.
Well, you can't get, it's right there. It's right in our face. My son killed by a snowplow, which I'm told is the X-Files death. It's an assassination.
Okay, so there's an article from 1 day ago. It's just yesterday. It looks like he got injured too. All right, if you don't, I want to read into this with you live
here. Please do. My heart goes out to him.
So Jeremy Renner continues his battle to recover from massive injuries sustained when he was trapped by a 14,000-pound snowplow, Deadline reports. The Hawkeye actor posted a video over the weekend of his leg receiving electrotherapy treatment, part of a regimen attempting to heal more than 30 broken bones sustained in the January accident, which those close to the actor say was electric stimulation workout and muscle strength. So I think there's like some sort of typo here.
Can you believe that? Next, you're going to have some poor person in Hollywood who actually tries to do well, choose good. Their son or daughter is going to be drowned in a lap pool.
Not sure why this is an anecdotal thing at the end. It says, Lady Madonna by the Beatles was playing in the background of Renner's video. The moment was the latest bit of news Renner has shared in his recovery. And I guess he posted this on Instagram, which I'm not on, so.
To get the green light by Hollywood, to get the green light to be successful, as they say, you have to be sanctioned and accepted by the cabal. You have to be chosen to be groomed. And one of the worst of all is Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is one of the worst, biggest sellout frauds that ever existed on this planet, who can't act or even tie his shoe. So Keanu Reeves is one of the worst people on the planet. He is one of the worst players that is a yes man. I'll do my drugs, hang out with my biker friends, and I will do anything for fame and fortune. And cast me as the saddest man in Hollywood while I roll in the dough and kill my girlfriend and her baby. All the PR that went into Keanu Reeves is off the charts. Unbelievable. The more PR and grooming they give you, the deeper you are in the cabal. It was actually the suits at Warner Brothers that demanded that Keanu Reeves play Neo to save him after Johnny Lightning, whatever it was. So they wanted to get his career up.
Okay, so we got CNN article here. Take what you will from that, but we get a little bit more info.
Yeah. CNN is owned by Warner Brothers, but go ahead. That's their
Jeremy Renner. This is the headline from January 25th, 2023. Jeremy Renner was crushed by snowplow as he tried to save nephew from injury, sheriff's report says. So he was trying to save his
Hey,
nephew
his
from being hit,
nephew, when
and then
my
he
son
ended
was
up getting hit.
killed by a snowplow.
Wow. So why do you think that they went after what do you think he's done that like they're now throwing the book at him, so to speak? The
Well,
Hollywood book, basically.
think of it this way. All those inserts by the Wachowskis of my information, my high school, that means they researched, right? They researched. While I was being erased and my social security number was being erased and everything else, my birthday being changed. July 22nd in the Matrix, first graphic, was what my birthday was changed to in documentations between 1993 and 96. So I was being erased. They actually, and they knew it and put the birthday in. Now people would say, why would they do that? Because I'm the writer who holds the copyright of the work they're stealing. Make any sense, people? So what happens is they're going like, why would they wouldn't do that. Yes, they would. Sophia Stewart or SS said that. Why would they do that? They wouldn't do that. Yes, they did. And you know it. So what they do is they keep dossiers on us. Those of us that are a threat or could have influence through our work. That's what it is. They don't want anybody else having the power, they call it the power, in this world. If you write a blockbuster screenplay, you have influence and power in this world. That's why they do it. So they have a hierarchy of who's going to have influence.
Something else I noticed that's repeated in these stories is that he broke more than 30 bones. Why don't they just say 33 and get it over with?
True. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
how do they even know that's how many bones he broke?
Right. Well, it's this idea behind the scenes of wanting to be clever and wanting to sound like we have the knowledge and we have therefore power. And they always do this. They exercise this thing of being all-knowing. And so basically that's kind of reflected right there in your comment, what you noticed. And so why would they go after him? They keep a chart on us of accomplishments, abilities, connections, our work, and they pester us for our work, as Disney's doing right now. Let us see the rest of your screenplays. It's on tape. They keep this going. So they have they call it the list. That's why they're out with Terminal List right now with Amazon, with Jim Reese, as we said, Jim Reese, the main character that Keanu Reeves was reading off of from the Immortals screenplay on set, which the fight choreographer said was on set, the original screenplay, this one right here, the 1998 version, on set with the visual storyboard and making up as they go along. That's why the Wachowski said they're going to keep the same ending from this. And there was a debate about blowing it up instead with everybody else, they claim. Yeah, because this was being on set and they're working off of this. How do we end it? When you took everything out of conjuncture and context, how do you end it? We'll just keep the exact final pages and follow it. Doesn't tie together. So everybody said not to. The Wachowskis did because they're brainless. So Jim Reese is the main character in that piece. So for Terminal List, the #1 show with Amazon for a spree here recently, Jim Reese is the main character, playing again, high-level operative person in the military. Same thing. So what do? They keep a file on each of us. They try to act clever, and they try to snuff us in the egg stage before we have influence and popularity. They shut you out then. They kill you in the womb, basically is what they say. So why was this man's nephew hit by a snowplow and he suffered the injuries? They're getting him in the womb. Something was going to happen. He knew stuff, and they hit you before you get a chance to even birth it.
Yeah, they try saying here that I guess it was a runaway snowplow that he was operating and didn't put a parking brake on. But
sure.
I don't know how much to believe with
What's a runaway
story.
snowplow? What is a runaway snowplow? That doesn't make any sense. And when you look at that, what was going on with the snowplow that killed my son? Why wasn't the operator and the driver mentioned in the news at all?
Yeah.
Why wasn't the lifeguard mentioned with my other son being drowned in the lap pool in a military base? Why wasn't his name mentioned? And who is he and why did he leave the pool to let my son drown in the shallows? so the special team from the Pentagon can come in and drown him under the water on a military base. Think of it. The perfect place to murder him would be where the Pentagon runs it, an air base with the cameras and everything. The lifeguard, what? The lifeguard decided to take a break with my son in the pool on a military base. His name's not mentioned, but Stars and Stripes is doing an investigation. He was revived, but somehow he ends up dead and I'm not allowed to even see his body. And he's cremated, which is right from our screenplay. What happened to Sean with the snowplow? He's cremated. I'm not allowed to see the body. Just like in the screenplay here, it opens up and this very important character, they ask what happened to him? He's cremated. What happened to Man in the High Castle? What happened to these other shows now? Where's the body? They're cremated. And they say how that's convenient, how that covers the tracks. They do it in Hollywood. What happened to George Michael? His heart gave out on Christmas. His heart gave out on the holidays. What do they mean in Hollywood when they say the heart gave out? Look at Black Sails. His heart gave out, and they're joking about what that means. He was murdered. They know that. Why was George Michael killed? Because he's in the end credits here and shows that the actual screenplay, The Immortals, was complete in 1993 because George Michael read the entire thing to okay it before I submitted in 1993. Praying for time, George Michael, final credits. He read the full thing and said I could submit it with his blessing. And I did in 1993, a full script. They don't want that because they're trying to say the Wachowskis put to paper the first Matrix title in 1996. But the Wachowskis, what are they? Oh, they're so clever. The Wachowskis are claiming that they came up with this whole thing sometime in 93. They have no working drafts. Attorneys say that on tape. No working drafts at all. Nothing. Notebooks, they claim. Handwritten or typewritten notebooks, typed notebooks. And all they have left is a one page from the notebook that's handwritten. That's their evidence. See what I'm saying? So they had to get rid of the proof. That's why they're destroying all copies of anything before 96 of my work, including the poor man's patent. Makes sense? That's what's been going on. And now we've got all the stuff from the storage area on Maui. All these working drafts. So I'm addressing Warner Brothers right now. Warner Brothers attorneys, you scumbags, you've been jerks. We have the original drafts preceding 96. We have them. You failed. Linda Burrow, you failed. And a whole slew of them. Arwen Johnson, Caldwell, Leslie, and Proctor, you failed. You're a fake. You're a fraud. You should be in federal prison. Michael, the guy who's Behringer, Kurt Bessinger, Caldwell, Leslie, and Proctor, transgender firm, you failed. Linda Burrow, classmates with Tony Rankin, unlicensed, who you're going to be an expert witness for and you sponsor for his license being reinstated after 2 attempts, you failed, even though you bragged about winning the big case. You failed. Ralph Rios and Associates in Pasadena, you failed. Vikram Solhole, the Indian transplant, fraud, liar, perjurer, you failed. Michael McCartney at Nemec and Cole, you failed. Barry Jenkins, look at the attorneys. How many attorneys were involved in throwing all this? Barry Jenkins, Virginia Beach, you failed. Your partner that you allowed Robertson to hire, it's right there. You can't get away from it. Pittman and Jenkins hired full firm partnership. Charles Pittman, you failed. Huffpool Mahoney, you failed. Damian T. Horn, you failed. Brian Fitzpatrick, Congressman lifelong FBI, you failed after all your 302 attempts. It goes on. How many attorneys have been assigned to destroy evidence, act with perjury, be fraudulent, and are now complaining they could face federal prison? It's a lot of people going to jail when this is all done. A lot of people thrown in. Why so many attorneys attached? Why so much personnel, money spent? Why so many judges bought if there's nothing to see here? And why would the Wachowskis and TMZ, owned by Warner Brothers, which Linda Burrow's attorneys for, and now with Netflix, why would they spend so much time with national publications to badger and put me down publicly, if I'm a nothing and there's nothing to see here, why spend all the money and the time? Why not just ignore me? Why SS spending all the time? Why all the players involved spending all the time? Why? So it's just like,
speaking of people being jailed, we got news just the other day that Harvey Weinstein, the director,
Mike
producer,
Lang. Yeah, Mike Lang was his boss that handled my wife, the honeypot wife. Yeah.
yeah, he just got 16 more years in prison for rape.
Well, then
And
they are desperate. They're desperate. The deal that I was told would be made was he'd be released with a golden parachute. This means they're desperate. That means he's taken the fall for Mike Lang of Disney under Michael Eisner.
yeah,
Notice you don't see Mike Lang. Look up Mike Lang's name. Google it. Mike Lang, Harvey Weinstein's boss. In fact, Harvey Weinstein, during the articles on Harvey Weinstein, they don't say Mike Lang. They say his boss without using his name. Even Trudeau got involved with covering up for Mike Lang. Mike Lang, who took the honeypot wife to bed with an email saying, move in with him for 60 days, Becca, on my birthday, July 2nd. Mike Lang, who blew it because of what? His ego. Taking the author's wife to bed. Oh, you can have her. She's a plant. She was a criminal prostitution, been in jail for criminal prostitution. Becca B. Lynn of Spokane, Washington. Rebecca Northcutt, who was provided from Modesto, California with outstanding warrants and been in jail for prostitution, among other things. My son's mom, who she won't even contact her son. So he wasn't supposed to be born. Just a job. So that's what's so fascinating is Mike Lang blew it bad. Now Micah Eisner is sweating and Bob Iger returns after Bob Iger was going to meet with me. We've got a whole circus happening right now, Stephen. It's all going to blow up. And right now the clowns are juggling. But wait till you see the next act.
yeah. There's two articles that popped up on Google when I put in Mike Lang, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, you'll see Mike Lang exiting Win in 2012, exiting right when Joel Silver exits Warner Brothers. Joel Silver exits in April, I think it is, and Mike Lang exits in March. At the same year, after I finally am coming forward. So they both exit, and who's in charge? Harvey Weinstein in Mike Lang's place of Miramax Films library, Disney's library of hard copy scripts in the Jersey warehouse, which is this script right here. That's the Disney library. Mike Lang's job in 93, when he's put in position, was to figure out a way to acquire the rights to this. You know what his answer is, Stephen? Have the author die. So he supplied his own honeypot wife. Took him back on my birthday after the case was thrown. Mike Lang takes her back. We have email after email of Mike Lang, Zia Zion, saying he's driving around in a town car. How, get this, that Becca B. Lynn keeps him focused. It's all ego. If you're that shallow and stupid as Mike Lang is, you take the author's wife to bed, and the author thanks you because you made a trail right back to Michael Eisner. You idiot. Because I didn't even know Disney was involved and Michael Eisner was involved, how far it was. Now we have it all, thanks to Mike Lang. Make that publicly known, spread that around. People at Walmart and people that know the story, spread it around. It was Mike Lang we can thank because of his caveman ego that exposed Disney. So thank you, Mike Lang, Harvey Weinstein's boss, for revealing Disney and Michael Eisner when they were super safe and they had gotten away with everything they did. It is Mike Lang who had to get his pants down. That blew it.
Just to give a rundown for the audience listening here, Miramax was bought out by Disney in 2010.
Disney formed it, actually. Miramax was created to be the Disney library. It's an on-paper thing. So yeah, they create it, and they put Mike Lang in charge of it because Disney hired Mike Lang to be in charge of acquisition of intellectual property they don't own. See? Yeah. And so then he gets to Film Tracks to do the same thing. And then he takes the author's wife to bed. Who's stupider, Stephen? Who's dumber? Mike Lang taking the author's wife to bed and bragging about it? I have him on tape. I have him on a call on tape. Mike Lang, Harvey Weinstein's boss, on tape with the wife there. Who's dumber? Mike Lang, audience determined. Take a vote. Mike Lang taking the wife to bed, revealing Disney Trail, or the Wachowskis putting in the author's high school birthday, name across the screen, dad's name, my Scottish clan name, everything in the original graphics. Which one's dumber? Which one's more stupid? As they try to be clever. Take a vote at some point. Mike Lang or the Wachowskis? And look what the cabal is comprised of. Idiots. The dumbest idiots on the planet are the ones that are taking our children, the ones that are giving us our entertainment. Studios are being made right now where you're going to see original content from all these different writers that were ripped off, and they've been in contact with me. Wait till you see the way the films, the way they were supposed to be, not filtered through the minds of mindless idiots that are still trying to make Carnivore and Plastic Man. Wait till you see. A better age is coming, and we're going to be amazed at what the monkeys at the wheel, who they were. Mike Lang's one of them. Wachowskis are next, and Keanu Reeves is another. Have you ever talked to Keanu Reeves? He is brainless. He's all about pleasuring himself. He doesn't give a damn about anybody else, even his girlfriend and his baby. He's a monster. But they PR them into making him into, we're supposed to love him. We're supposed to think he's this innocent, wonderful, suffering guy. Get over the PR, get past the man behind the curtain, and look who these people really are. They're not worth spit on the sidewalk. They're not. And that's our heroes. And another thing, Keanu Reeves, get some acting lessons. You can't act. Find another job. Do your drugs with your biker buddies and maybe clean toilets.
Oh, wow. So Mike Lang's Wikipedia page actually mentions that Lang steered the deal for Film Yard Holdings to purchase Miramax Films from the Walt Disney Company.
There you go. That's important. Can you email me that at some point? That's an important piece right there. That's exactly what I'm saying, right? That's what I was saying. So it's all a string of lies. It's all a little trail down a rabbit hole. And it's like what they're doing is they create the vehicle as if it's an outside vehicle. They create the vehicle within. Pat Robertson does the same thing with religious right. Does the same thing. It's all paper. It's just on paper.
I'm doing a screenshot of this and I'll send you the link.
I appreciate that very much. That'll help with the documentary. Can you believe what we're finding? Can you believe when you see it?
Because like I was looking for Mike Lang and there's really nothing about him after 2012 except this little anecdote at the end. It says in February 2016, Lang joined the Discovery Channel network, and that November, Discovery Networks International appointed him to lead its Nordic region of Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland.
See, they're getting him out of town. They want to act like he's out of town. He's still here, but they want to act like he's out of town.
They appointed him as a president of International Development, Digital, and Discovery Nordics. Yeah, so basically, they're streaming services.
You know where Robinoff went after Joel Silver got command after our case was thrown? He took over basically Warner Brothers. Robinoff, who he was at odds with, was sent to China, like a 20 to 30 film deal with China. There is no international disputes, really. It's all a chess game, all a show, dog and pony show for the world. There is the Billionaires Club. There is not really any more individual nations. They'll act like they're against each other. That is just good cop, bad cop. There is no such thing. There's a one world order already in place. It's called the Billionaires Club. Billionaires from every country are doing cigars and brandy and flying to each other. They're flying in and having parties together. That includes Trudeau, the playboy of Canada. They're all just getting together and having a good time, laughing at the public, not understanding it. But there's many that are getting it. Do you know what's interesting, too, about the copyright on this piece right here, The Immortals, where they, Warner Brothers tried to put a copyright on it? Did I tell you who the two famous people they put on here as going to be the claimants for it? They're going to claim wrote my piece in the end when the Wachowskis tumble. Are you ready for this? The two people they're going to claim that were commissioned by Warner Brothers to take my work weren't the Wachowskis originally. Tom Hanks and Wendy Wasserstein. The lady who wrote the Jewish woman, Zion, Jewish woman of Hollywood, Jewish mafia. Wendy Wasserstein, who wrote the Heidi Chronicles, Broadway director, Broadway writer, not a screenwriter. It was commissioned by Warner Brothers, quote, commissioned by Warner Brothers in the bought off, sold off copyright office to be the writer of The Immortals without it being written. Tom Hanks also, we got the entry now. We found it. We're tipped off. Tom Hanks to be the writers of The Immortals. How about that? So this piece before you right now was not to be given to the Wachowskis. Tom Hanks. Just think of it as Tom Hanks wrote Matrix. We were one stone throw away from Tom Hanks having written The Matrix. Can you believe that? And if that doesn't work, the Jewish Mafia having Wendy Wasserstein, their Jewish star, having written it. Both commissioned by Warner Brothers to write The Immortals, no body of work, and that was the copyright entry. Shame on you, Copyright Office, for allowing these things, this fraud to happen. Can you imagine that? Wrap your head around it. Tom Hanks wrote The Matrix. That's what we were going to have. It would have worked. People would have bought into it. Who worked with the Wachowskis on Cloud Atlas? Who co-produced? Who co-wrote? Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's who it was, but yeah.
Tom Hanks. So Tom Hanks was the original go-to guy to steal The Immortals. It's hard to wrap the head around, isn't it? It would have worked. They should have used him instead of the Wachowskis. Who was to be my mentor in Hollywood when I was out there in 1996 with Ellen Gear of Will Gear Theatricum Botanicum in Topanga Canyon outside the basin in between Malibu and Hollywood. Whoa, who was to be my mentor? Tom Hanks. I was to work under Tom Hanks and Ron Howard. Do you see it?
Yeah, of course. The duo.
All lined up and laid out. Tom Hanks, you bastard. He was the inside man from Go, along with Mel Gibson. Who wined and dined the Wachowskis? De Laurentiis. Who do they claim brought the Wachowskis to De Laurentiis? Mel Gibson. What did Mel Gibson get out of it? Forever Young, with Joel Silver, producing an insurance film. How to Make a Million Without Losing a Dime? Make a bad movie. What is the play in Forever Young in 93, right when they got this? The opening pages. The Allied officer, cryogenically preserved, comes back and finds his wife, Helen, in the Tom Hanks, or in the Mel Gibson version with Joel Silver producing. In this, the officer comes back from cryogenics frozen and finds his wife, not Helen, but Helena. Helena. He finds her. Isn't that something? And she's aged and he hasn't. I give you Forever Young. Mel Gibson, who then they double time to say he discovered the Wachowskis. Mel Gibson, you bastard. Mel Gibson was also ripped it off in Braveheart. What happens in Braveheart? He thinks he sees his wife. He thinks he hears his wife. That's from the pages he saw in 93. He has a picture or a cloth of a picture on it from his wife that drops from his hand when he dies. That's the ending of this. It falls from the hand of the character, also used in Elysium, ripped off. Mel Gibson is as bad as Keanu Reeves. Mel Gibson is a weak, weak man who is a yes man for Hollywood and the pedophiles. And I want that spread. Mel Gibson is very, very bad. He could have made a huge difference. Keanu Reeves, same thing. Huge difference. Watch for Mel Gibson in the future being revealed for doing some pretty horrendous things with children. Mark my words. Mark Mel Gibson for being revealed in the future, along with Spielberg, for doing some very, very bad things.
Along with Spielberg.
Along with Spielberg.
Oh.
Watch for it.
That'll be definitely a news cycle that won't go unnoticed.
Watch for it. They're deciding right now what to do with Mel Gibson. Reveal him or keep him as a possible pawn for the future.
Yeah, he's working on a movie right now called Rothschild.
He's trying to cover his butt. He's trying to cover his butt. He knows the hammer's coming down, and he knows that I know. So I'm announcing it. Mel Gibson, your time's run out. Mel Gibson will be revealed. And I'm encouraging Hollywood to reveal Mel Gibson as they turn on their own. Go ahead and reveal.
Are these going to be fake accusations, or is this stuff that he's
It'll
actually
be
done?
true. It'll be true. Mel Gibson, I know he's done it. Mel Gibson's guilty.
Oh,
He's guilty as sin. He is a fake and a fraud. Now, what's interesting is this. What is Mel Gibson and Keanu Reeves? What's the characters they always play? They produce these shows, and how do they cast themselves? As the heroes.
well, yeah, and it looks like he's really trying in his acting page on IMDb. He has 6 movies that he did last year.
Yeah, he's trying to load it up.
Two
That's
from
a feat.
21, 3 from 2020, 1 from 2019, 18, 17, 16 are all
He
single
thinks he
films.
thinks he's distancing himself from what's coming. So it's like a guy trying to swim away from a shark. He's not going to make it. He's not going to get away.
It's the
A
most
guilty
movies
man.
he's ever done, actually, is in 2022.
He's on the fly. He's on the run. He's scared. And what's interesting was when he got drunk. What did Mel Gibson do when he got drunk? Pulled over for DUI. What do? He started letting it out about the Zionist Jewish Hollywood mafia. He started spitting it out and cursing and yelling it out when he was inebriated. And
And
then
then they
what did they
took
make him do? You want to see his character, if he has courage or not? Is he a brave heart? No, he's a weak heart. What did he do after he sobered up?
he
They made him
groveled.
get on the air and apologize and grovel. That's right.
Mhm.
That's Mel Gibson. He is not Braveheart. He's empty heart. He's weak heart. He's a know-nothing loser who wants to act like he's big, but hasn't earned it. So start to see Mel Gibson for who he is, a coward, an absolute coward who has an obsession with children, young children.
I'm
That's why
writing down your nickname you gave him because I
good,
like it. Empty
good.
Heart
Spread it.
Mel Gibson.
Let's spread this because Steven Spielberg, why did they give Steven Spielberg Academy Awards for his own film about himself? Could you imagine, again, directing and writing your own film? Could you imagine on set going like this? No, I'm such a great guy and I'm so caring. Make the women weep. Make them feel sorry for me. More sorriness. No, make them cry for me. No, do the scene over and make it like I really am such a sweetheart. How could you direct something like that? How could you write something like that about yourself? Sophia Stewart, all eyes on me. And then he's upset if he didn't get all the rewards. How could he get awards for something so bad? Because it's political. It's all inside. What they're doing right now, let me cut behind the scenes here. Let's pull the curtain back. The reason this is happening for Spielberg, it's agreed ahead of time to get these awards, is because they want him to be thrown a bone. They want him to feel satisfied.
Oh.
So this is the inside industry decision to let Spielberg have his egocentric maniac time of self-indulgence. It's allowed by the industry because they're going to give him a golden parachute out. He wants his legacy set that women will want him for the rest of his life, and children, small children. So that is what he's looking for, his immortality, his legacy. Same with Iger's concern, and Eisner. So that's what's going on. That's why this was done, this sham. I cannot believe anybody would direct and write a film about themselves. And from what I hear from the set, he was pushing that there be more sympathy for himself, more love for himself, more sadness given to himself, that people weep over him. Can there be a biggest narcissist in the world, a bigger narcissist in the world than Steven Spielberg, who is known in the industry as Steven Spielberg, who was directly influential in what happened to me with Disney and Marvel Comics and Warner Brothers? It was Spielberg's best friend, Peter, who took my housemate and told her, if you sleep with me, you will have dinner with Spielberg and be in sweet charity in a production in Hollywood. And she bit for it.
So
Kirsten,
is that his
yeah.
Steven Spielberg's like documentary about himself? That movie, is that called The Fablemans from 2022?
I think that's what I think. Yeah, the one that just came out got all the awards.
Okay, yeah, that's what it seems like.
How in the hell did this happen? When we went from rehash in Hollywood because they have no new ideas. They told me on the phone. Disney's contact told me on the phone. Their attorney said, we have no new ideas. That's why they insisted on having my work. They wanted me just to give it over to them. They destroyed original writers and their families. Destroyed. Killing their sons, things like that. And then they have the audacity to tell us to give us their work. And then what they do is beyond rehash, they create stories about themselves. Watch for more movies about more of these idiots like Joel Silver and Eisner and Iger, the rest of them, and Mike Lang, and watch Harvey Weinstein get his book deal. They're all concerned about legacy. They're all concerned about how the ladies and the children think of them. That's what they want. That's what it is. So yes, Steven Spielberg and Mel Gibson will be revealed very soon. I'm sure of it. Very soon.
Wow.
Don't be surprised. And don't anyone say we didn't see it coming. You've been told. It's going to happen. Mel Gibson, I wouldn't give two spits on the sidewalk for. Keanu Reeves should be banned from seeing children and should be prosecuted for the murder of his girlfriend and baby. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Why? He's the saddest man in Hollywood. He gives millions to the set crew of Matrix. You gave millions to the set crew of Matrix, and that's considered the greatest charity act in Hollywood history. You gave millions to union wage workers who are employed. How about giving the millions to the homeless?
Yeah.
That would be charity. Giving millions to union wage people you're working with on set and bikes to the stunt crew is not the greatest act of charity. That's money laundering. That's payoffs. That's what that is, to keep quiet about the ripoff that he knows about, because this is a script he read from, which there was a 20-foot rule on. If you're within 20 feet of this script on set, Keanu Reeves accepted, then you're fired. But Keanu Reeves can read Jim Reese. He can read it. And the biggest slam right now for me, Stephen, is that Keanu Reeves trying to be me. He's trying to say that all my values are his values now. Everything I believe is now what he believes now. I'm sorry, I don't drink. I don't do the drugs. I'm not hanging with my biker friends. I'm not killing my girlfriend and her baby. And I'm not doing any of those things. So Keanu Reeves, you're nothing like me. But he wanted to be the character. This character was written based on myself as the author, because that's what I knew I could flesh out on how I would feel and act as that character as I created the piece that the Wachowski says is not meant to tie together. Wait till you see how it's all tied together as one screenplay, one movie, and all the matchups in there. And you'll understand why there was a 20-foot rule, that if you're in 20 feet of this, you're fired. And why the Wachowski stuck everything in. So we can all answer SS back. When SS says, they wouldn't do that. The answer is, would they? If it's the original author and they took his work and they've been mocking him, threatening him, killing his sons, do you think they might just mock him in the film if they think they can get away with it? And the only way I knew that was in there for that split second upside down in some of these graphics was because insiders told me it was there. So do you think they might just be doing, if Suzanne Bolgen, the graphic designer, in her own article said that they put this stuff in there for their eyes only to keep the project interesting? Do you think they might just have done it? SS? Rest of the world? Yeah. We are the logic side. And their shills are starting to get embarrassed, Stephen. They're starting to get embarrassed. The more they go, this is nonsense. I can see in his eyes he's evil. He greases his hair. We know he dyes his hair. He's gay. He's Tom is a fraud. No, he lost in court. Do you think that they're running out of ammo when all this proof is here? And the reason we lost in court, if it was lost in court because the Rankin that was assigned, that's a classmates of Warner Brothers attorneys, a transgender firm, was ineligible to practice law. And the last thing he did when he was fired, within a half hour after he's fired, is call the other firm and said they can proceed to summary judgment without objection. You think there's any way the author can win? Shame on the idiots out there. And God bless those that have a brain and use critical thinking. That's where I am as a father who has two sons murdered and one son left. And I'm told by the other side, the cabal, that they know I'm concerned for my last son's safety. Yeah, duh. So yeah. And now the latest claim, Stephen, the latest claim, and the latest accusation is, why is Tom still alive? Okay, that's the accusation. Why am I still alive? So I'm a fraud because I'm still alive? I'm alive because I know how to play the game. I know how to play the game because I know to think on what they want most. You think on what they're afraid of most and what they want most. What they want the rest of the screenplays. That's on tape from the Disney lawyer. So that's what they've been asking for. And what did they say when I said, if anything happens to my last son, I will destroy those last screenplays? They go, you can't do that. The audacity of the cabal, the audacity of Disney, the audacity of Warner Brothers, the audacity of their shills. They think they can make that claim to the father who lost his sons? You can't do that? No, I told him, the screenplays will not exist in this world if my son's taken from it. That's how you beat the cabal. That's why I'm still alive. Because I got a brain. I'm not stupid. You do what they fear most. If you don't, you die. You end up off a bridge. You end up hanging from a doorknob with a tie around your neck. You end up as the millionaire just did, this billionaire with $2 billion worth, this Lee, this one that was just killed the other day. Gunshot in his office, a philanthropist, a man who said it's better to give away things. One was known that he always had a heart, who gave to the New York art centers, that Lincoln Center, that he gave to Harvard grad students, where he was giving financial aid for them. That's not a man who kills himself. No note, no reasons, just killed. The cabal is now getting rid of those with heart. They're doing exactly what I said. They're starting to clean house. They're afraid of anybody who has a heart, moral compass, and compassion, because why? They might just talk. But the reason I'm alive is because I know how to play their game. I was groomed from the inside. And I learned from Disney themselves on tape that it's because I talked, as my son told me to do. Doing interviews like this with you, Stephen, is what kept him alive, kept me alive. That's the answer to the idiots that say, why is he still alive, as if I'm some kind of fraud. SS, if my company was called All Eyes on Me, have at me. As SS's company is called. My company's not called that.
You mentioned about interviews being possibly interrupted or sabotaged. Could you expand on that?
Well, let's look at the one that just happened. I'm glad you brought it up. The one that just happened last night. What happened just before we got on the air? Before we got on the air with Matthew, Matrix Matthew. Before we get on the air, I had a friend drop. I had 5,000 friends. It went to 4,999. Who was the friend that dropped? The host of the show that's coming up? What are the chances? So he tells me, he says, I didn't drop you, but I'm cut as your friend. I can't get the materials to you through Messenger. So right before the show, the Zuckerman platform, he's cut as a friend. Then it's shown that I cut him as a friend. So if they can't turn friends on me, he was contacted before, it'll make it look like I cut them off. See? So he tried to share his program, prelude, on my site. It wouldn't be shared. That was blocked. On the very graphic, when he went to post it, somehow what he rendered, the date got changed when it was posted. Wow. It got changed to a day after. All this was being done. That's how desperate they are, Stephen. So I had to get to his point and copy and paste his link onto my site. So they're dropping friends as if I'm dropping my friends. And on a host that was just about to do the show, what are the chances again? Let's talk about probability again. Put the mathematician to work. What's the probability of having maxed out friends and the one guy that drops is the host for that evening? What's the chances of that out of the other 4,999?
You should go play the lotto.
Yeah, I should, shouldn't I? I should. I should play it multiple times over. Isn't this incredible? Think of this word, desperation. That's what's happening. The other side's desperate. Why? Why are they doing this to me? Because I could have influence. When people wake up and understand, I'm just asking for the brilliant ones, not the dumb ones. When the public that is smart, that is genius, critical thinking, that's the ones I'm talking to. When they are able to get this, and they understand it, word out, despite the shadow banning, that I wrote this, that I did it. What kind of influence, Stephen, would I have in the world? Would I be asked to speak? Would my thoughts be valued? Would my ideas be weighed? Would I be considered as someone valuable to speak at universities?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd actually, I mean, if I was in charge of a college film school, like I'd have a series of classes just about you and the situation that you've
And I
been
would love it
like
to
pulled through.
talk about the creative process that Hollywood doesn't understand. I would
Yep.
love to help young writers understand how to write these materials and the 16 others I'm sitting on.
Yeah, instead of these classes that put me through watching American Beauty with Kevin Spacey about
Right.
him perving on his high school daughter's friend, and then
Yeah,
his neighbor turning out to be it was like a military machismo guy. It turned out to be secretly gay. Yeah, that all seems to be very formulaic now, doesn't it?
doesn't it? Doesn't it? It
Especially with Spacey being outed as a pedo himself. So,
exactly. With Mel Gibson about to join him.
and they had
Exactly.
us like so they had us break down. Sorry if I'm going a little off topic
Please
here, but
go. Just travel it. Take it.
they had us one day. We sat down in our film class. It was, I forget which one it was. It's probably screenwriting,
Hmm.
but it was also studying like sequence of shots and events and meanings of all that. But the
Right.
scene that they had us study was when the Kevin Spacey's character, the father, was sitting in the bleachers watching a basketball or volleyball game or whatever.
Right.
It was
Right.
just a sport game in the gym,
Right.
and they had it where he's sitting in the crowd with all these other people, and then it's kind of like he zones out, and then it goes into a fantasy sequence where he's the only one sitting in the bleachers, and there's a spotlight on his
Young girl.
daughter's friend, and she's
Right.
doing some cabaret dance after that, and it like keeps on zooming closer in with each cut to his face, like he's sweating and everything, like
Right.
he's aroused by her and all that.
Right.
And then yeah, the rest of the movie just builds on that. It's like he he's trying to get with this chick and that's
Right.
clearly not in his age group, and
First choice. First choice for Hollywood. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Film school wants us to study that movie, not anything else. That movie. They spent an entire day on that in a class. I mean, if you average it out, it was something like $700 a class.
Oh my God. Cool.
So we spent almost a grand to like, oh, let's study and dissect what this filmmaker is trying to say with this character and this and that. But
Right.
all of these other elements added in, where you have Spacey, who we know now who he really is outside of his job,
Right.
and then just the agenda that was being pushed. And I mean, this movie came out in the mid 90s, I want to
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
It kind of falls in the same timeline as with Warner Brothers and the Wachowskis and Lang
Yeah.
and all of them doing their
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
See, they still don't. I still get producers calling me from Hollywood. They're saying they're still following the formulas. They still don't understand it. Why not ask the original authors their processes and things like that? No, they don't. They don't. They bring in failed writers to be in house to steal the work, and then they're the ones talking. Or if you're embarrassed enough, as Joel Silver said, the boys were embarrassed to talk about it. That's why they stopped doing interviews. They did interviews at first. And as soon as my case was thrown, they started doing interviews like crazy. They thought I was out of the way. So, but I would like to talk about someday. Yeah, I want to talk about in lectures the creative process that I use of layered writing, layered thinking, layered composition. Absolutely. Because they don't got it. If you want first choice crafting, read Wachowski's Bible, How to Make a Million in Hollywood Without Spending a Dime, making bad movies. And also Josh Whedon, his lectures, how he says he even rips people off. Yeah, they all confess they rip people off. Sure. And then you've got their one layer approach, basically, of where in Hollywood studios you get these bunch of writers together and they go, that'd be really cool, stick this in. That'll be really cool, stick this in. That's not the way to create great work. That's how to have a beer keg party and to entertain each other there and feel like you're cool.
you talk about Joss Whedon being the ripoff guy.
Yes.
I remember when I think he was directing the first Marvel Avengers movie. There was an article that came out where he was like bragging about using an iPhone for a certain action sequence near the like end of the movie where everything's getting destroyed and everything.
Right.
And then he retracted that statement that he used an iPhone to shoot this thing. And thinking back to it now, it's like, yeah, you get provided with a certain budget to shoot these films,
Right.
and then instead of using the actual proper equipment that you got to do this, you just do this with an iPhone. And
Yeah. Yeah.
how much did he pocket from that day
That's
of
right.
not having to use any of that equipment or any of the crew and everything?
How to make $1 million in Hollywood without losing a dime. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just
It-
shoot it on my phone today.
yeah.
Screw
Yeah.
the 20 million that has been put
Yeah.
aside for $200 million movie. I think that
Imagine
was
that.
the more outrageous part.
Yeah. And
This
then, yeah,
it was like,
that's so cool. I'm so glad you brought that up. Imagine them in the editing room going like, just keep it, just don't worry about it, just keep it. No, it's fine. It's fine. Just keep it. Just no, keep going. They don't care. They don't give a damn.
and I'm sure they put the CGI and everything in over that iPhone clip,
Yep.
and they
Yep.
probably put all these like enhanced filters on it to like kind of blend it together, and then
Yeah. To make it work. Yeah.
yeah, to hide it, to cover it up, and just pass it along. And it could have even just been a short 5-10 second shot, but
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
just the principle of it alone, of like he thought he was being clever by doing that and
Yeah.
cutting corners, and then
And you realize
somebody above told him like, hey, you better not be talking about that, and you
that
better
right.
not be doing that anymore. So
Right. Right. Retract that. Yeah. For lying for them is easy. Lying for them is like drinking a glass of milk. You're not lactose intolerant. They just lie. And they'll brag about it. They always end up bragging. They always end up bragging. The Wachowskis someday, I can see it now. I see it so clear. In the future, they'll be talking about the ripoff and bragging about it. And they expect to be revered for having gotten away with it. And that's what you see a lot of Hollywood films lending itself to now, heading that direction where they see the people bragging about getting away with what they did. There's a film my son turned me on to this series about I Really Care, where they rip off elderly in nursing homes and use them as marks to make a fortune off of. And we're supposed to like the main character. We're supposed to like the main character that's getting away with ripping everybody off. And
it's kind of a
yeah,
standard business tactic of turn your weakness or flaw into a feature.
yeah,
So like with this example, it's like, oh yeah, we always knew that we were ripping this off, and we just wanted to see how far we'd get with it, away with it. It's almost like they're trying to get ahead of the story and make it seem like this was their plan all along, and be like, oh yeah, I knew I'd get caught eventually. But right now they're pretending like they'll never get caught.
that's exactly it. You nailed it. And that's what it is. It's about legacies. So right now you're going to see them starting to turn it into these things where they go, look what I got away with. Turning the victims of their crimes into schmucks and making themselves out to be clever. There's the word. We were clever. We had the guts to do it. And look at our lives and look at our loved ones, how they're living, because we had the guts to be natural, to act with the laws of nature in accordance with them, which is what they say. When you're inside circle, they put this on you. They go, we're acting with the laws of nature, as the laws of nature dictate. We're simply acting within that bounds. And that's something. So they use nature to justify what they're doing. This is natural. We're real. We're more genuine. We're more honest than anybody out there because we're actually doing what our nature would dictate we do. Unbelievable. Look at the argument and the twisted minds they have. But there's a price to pay. When you act that way, our minds know if we're lying to ourselves. And if we start perpetuating that lie, our minds know not to trust us. Isn't that something? There's a dichotomy that goes on where we actually know we're not trustworthy, even unto ourselves. That will take its toll. And it definitely kills the creative spirit and ability. It does. If you want to be creative, a creative genius, you cannot be against your own mind. You can't be working against your own knowledge of who you are and what you're doing. You can't lie to yourself. When you're lying to others, you're lying to yourself, and you know it. And some process happens where it shuts down. Creative disappears. It's beautiful. It's amazing. If we're open with nothing to hide, creative flourishes. That's what I'm trying to teach Disney as we have our little confabs, which is interesting. You could almost do a show series on a film on Tom and Bob Iger and Michael Eisner. You could almost do a show. Harvey Weinstein. Well, they want to do their own attorneys are saying they're real excited about the real life movie. Beyond the Matrix, the real life movie. Beyond the Immortals, the real life movie. That's what they're saying they get goose flesh over. Isn't that something? So the more interaction they have, and then they think of it this way. They say they put me in my own film. I've said this before. They put me in my own film. That's really interesting. So that's Hollywood wanting to be stimulated. Hollywood moguls wanting to be stimulated along with the agency people. They want to be stimulated. So they've done a Truman Show. That's why my email has a Truman Show in it. I've been told this. So they want to put a successful author in his own movie, and that's their real life soap opera entertainment. This is what Hollywood, that's why all in Hollywood know my story, is because they put me as their Truman Show. And so they have real life entertainment. That's why everything's happened to me, even the death of my sons, for their entertainment. Let that sink in. Yeah. While they're enjoying their popcorn and their young children who are underaged. Mel Gibson. Anyway, that's where I stand. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's where we're at. That's our time. It's going to change. It'll be a much better world where the actual artists will be creating art that will be protected, and I'm going to help see to that.
Yeah,
last
like,
of them. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just having a weird reaction to hearing you talk. Sorry. It's like I have to cough, but my eyes are watering up. I don't feel like I'm crying, but it looks like I am.
No, I understand.
Really, it's really weird.
Right. You're going to see people across the planet, like you said about that Walmart story that you shared. I'm so glad you did. People were changed by the movie. Hollywood knows this. It's about influence and power for them, right? Wait till they're changed about the real life story. Wait till they know that the piece was written for them, that it was for them, not for the Wachowskis, for them. Wachowskis took it from the world, took it from each person, and that we're going to be able to feel things and imagine things and benefit from things, including the tech, that Hollywood has hoarded, taken for themselves. What did Joel Silver say? I don't create art, I collect art. He doesn't create it, he takes it. So what did Wachowski say? That Joel Silver gave them an audition piece to see if they could at least direct before they were given the work. Now they're claiming it never happened. Well, it's in the articles. How can you say it never happened? You put it in articles. You said it yourselves. So they're trying to retract, just like that other guy's trying to retract, right? Like Josh Whedon was trying to retract. They're all trying to retract now. Clean up their legacies. Clean up the record. And that's why all my different drafts were disappearing. And thank God they were safe in a storage area when they're demanding everything. Is this it? Is this everything you got? So they could ruin it and not give it back. I was handed empty boxes back. They took everything. While they admitted on tape, they have no working drafts. They have no working drafts. How the hell did you make The Matrix? And now they're coming out with, we make it up as we go along. Now they're saying it. But you have to have something to make it up off of, don't you? Unless you just get on set and let's just have genius right now. Just make it up as we go along. That would not work with union wage people waiting around to shoot the next scene. But then the Wachowskis have another retort. We made it up in 3 days. Did you? No. It took me 2 years. 3 days? That's all it took. God, you guys are good. Or you have an inflated sense of ego and think that people are going to buy it when you're shoveling, just like SS. Failed people have a tendency to do that. So, but that's it, Stephen. Thank you. Yeah, I'm blown away by what we have now. We also have the original Brother word processor. We have what the Matrix story was written on, the Immortals. We have it.
Excellent.
That's now been retrieved. And when the film is done and when the documentary is done, we're going to offer that to whoever wants to bid for it They can have it, the original one. I think it actually saves on it. They used to save little clips on it. The original processor would have a little green window where it saves certain texts and things. It's probably still on there. That'd be kind of
Wow.
cool.
Yeah. Man, I don't want to say I'm impatient,
Mhm.
but I'm looking forward to seeing um more resolution coming from all of this, especially on the end of Hollywood. Well, I said that in a weird way. On Hollywood's end, but
Right.
also the end of Hollywood. I guess you can say both ways. I um I really just feel that what we're seeing right now play out, like um it's slow drip. So Harvey Weinstein thing, big news story. Sounds like they want to just make him disappear forever now with
Right.
throwing another
Right.
16 years at him.
Because they're afraid of Mike Lang being caught and revealed now. They've we're so hard to keep his name out of the press. Yeah. Yeah.
And oh, I think there was another. Do you know the name Isaiah Cappy?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
He was talking about Tom Hanks
Right.
shortly before like he was trying to expose everything.
Isn't yes.
And the claim was that he jumped off a bridge, but apparently somebody like ran him off the bridge, or
Right.
he got pushed off or something.
Right. If you're revealing stuff on a mission to do that, you're not going to end your life.
And
Right.
Tom Hanks, after this guy was reported on being deceased, Tom Hanks went to Twitter and made a joke.
Of course. Notice how it keeps coming back to Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And did Tom Hanks play good guy a lot? Castaway, all these other shows where the boats being tagged by the pirates out in Nigeria or whatever, off the West Africa, East African coast. All these kind of plays he played where he's the good guy, super Forrest Gump, super good guy, super good guy, super good guy. That's how they do it. So you see a lot of their
So
worst players play the
it,
good guy.
yeah, so April 5th, 2019, Tom Hanks posted a picture of looks like a glove on the ground in the dirt. And it says historic Route 66. Roadkill question mark? I hope not. Hanks.
God help us.
So it appears like he was making fun of Isaac Cappy's
Right. Right.
untimely death
Right.
and calling him roadkill.
Right. Right. Sure does. Otherwise, where's it coming from? There has to
Hmm.
be a context for the joke to work. Yeah. Well, here's the deal. I predict, I want to make a prediction, and it may not come true, but it may just, and it's going to be scary if it does. Watch for an A-list actor or actress to bite the bullet very soon. And because they'll sacrifice them in order to get a distraction and focus of audience and fans to focus on them, to focus on their control of what's the narrative is and what's going on. So they're going to have to sacrifice a very high level performer that would tug at the heartstrings, preferably
Wow.
somebody who they profiled might be coming to talk. They can't get me right now. They've tried. How many 302s on me? I survived it all and I'm too public. So they need somebody who may talk that hasn't talked before they talk, that will elicit sympathy of and allow the airways to be filled up with their demise. And they'll make it into a suicide. So, but it won't be a suicide. It's going to be a sacrificial move in
And
order
you
to.
think this will be longer than just a few days of headlines? Like
It'll be much
it'll
longer.
it'll
I
impact the like the social construct in a way.
Exactly. I know how they work. I know I was on the inside. So what you have is what they'll do is they'll play it out as if they may have had something to share. They'll control the narrative. The end game is to make it that there was nothing there, and we all feel sympathy, but they tied up all this narrative, and they want to take us down a trail of saying, look, we'll flash the light on this too. We'll look ourselves. We'll police ourselves and take a look. No, there was nothing in the end, but the poor soul that was lost. So they're going to make it look like this is how the FBI does it. The FBI will do low echelon stings on pedophiles. They'll do lower echelon stings where a couple kids are free to make it look like the FBI is doing the job, when the FBI knows about thousands and thousands of kids that they're not going to allow free because their clientele doesn't want to lose their toys. As sad as it sounds, as hard as it sounds, horrible as it sounds. So that's what's going on. So you're going to see something that's going to elicit sympathy, and it'll kill two birds with one stone, as they say.
Would you
So
think it would be coming from the film industry or the music industry?
this is going to be the agencies along with the film industry.
Okay.
Music industry, that's very volatile right now because people understand more that the music industry is pretty shaded, even more so than the film industry. That
Yeah.
there's a lot of shortchanging of musical artists.
Well, they're out in the open more so at this point than I think
Right.
the film industry is.
They
Few
need them.
things,
Yeah.
the Grammy Awards,
Yeah.
the Super Bowl. I know those two for sure. There was all red being worn, and
Right. See,
a lot of more symbology.
they're in swing. They're employed. They're doing their job, and they're needed by the cabal. But as far as certain actors and actresses, there's always a surplus, and you can bring up new names. They can refresh their ratings and audience attendance by bringing in fresh new stars. All they need is just promote them. So if one's being too much, it's interesting too is if one's being revealed too much. We said Mel Gibson. We said Keanu Reeves. They've done so much PR activity. If I do a show where I talk about Keanu Reeves, suddenly there's more PR out there. They do an instant response. They follow us. They know they're shadow banning the numbers. Sometimes it's like 32 views, but there's actually hundreds of thousands of views, I'm told. So what happens is they react immediately, shadow banning, and add the PR on to Keanu Reeves in that case. So what they may do is if they have to work so hard with so much PR for a certain individual and are responding too many times to these interviews, at one point they're just going to get rid of them because in the end they don't matter. In the end, in that system where it's all about power, it's only individuals that matter. There is no cohesiveness, so they can take ones down. And they start to think it this way. Well, if you're ending up on Tom Althouse's talk so much and others that are airing you in response also, then that's your fault for getting caught. It comes down to blame being laid on somebody. It always is in the cabal. Someone always gets blamed. That's why Mike Lang's head is on the line. And if I was Mike Lang, I'd be suffering chills because they're just not putting him in the media, which means he's ripe to go. But I would expect someone on a level like Keanu Reeves or Mel Gibson could suddenly have an Ibsen, a trip and fall. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was a trip and fall, something along the line of snowplow. So I think that is in the works because you know why? They're going to be blamed for failing. We're talking about them on the air.
Yeah, and I could see them the people in charge of Hollywood, them pushing Mel Gibson's like drinking and alcoholism as contributing factor to his death or something like that.
They got it easy. Put a cocktail on him. Yeah. Now this
is
isn't
the whole story writes itself in a way.
Now we're not talking abuse, and we're not talking abusively. We're spelling out what could happen, and that's not inappropriate content.
Yeah.
We're saying this is how,
and it's hypothetical too. It's like
taking, so we're not
taking known facts from the past and trying to apply it to what could be believable in the future
with critical analysis and application. Exactly. That's what we're doing. Smart talk. So what's going on is I would expect, yes, that the caliber of Mel Gibson, his level of PRing, and also Keanu Reeves. I would lean towards Keanu Reeves before Mel Gibson, though, because I think they can keep him a dark horse. But as far as Keanu Reeves, their fear is that he might just break and talk. And I have insiders with Keanu Reeves that know him personally. that said he was actually thinking of swinging around on this whole Immortals thing. And he froze up and freaked out when he heard the Immortals title told to him on the phone during one of the contacts that I have. So when he heard Immortals, he freaked out. So he thought he'd retreat to his drugs and biker friends, but that's not going to cover him. He needs to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Now he's in a rock and a hard place between. So if he does not do the right thing, Hollywood themselves may just take it out because he's a threat to them. He was giving FBI surveillance and protection. That's scary. You don't want FBI protection. That means they're just in control of your life. So right now, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised if there's tributes ready that are made, set. And what's interesting, keep in mind, if something happens to a character like this, watch how fast the tributes are ready to go. Now people will say, well, they were in the can ready to go. Yeah, but they're not doing it on everybody. They had to be ready for this. The cabal works very systematically where we start to think that it's just natural to flow this way. But there'll be some very interesting, well done, as far as crafting pieces, better than Matrix 4.
When you're saying tributes, you mean like highly edited video clips
Slick, very
honoring his
slick.
life and stuff?
Yeah, with the music levels, everything right, pristine. It
Him
took some
playing
time.
with a dog and smiling and that type of stuff.
Exactly. What a saddest man in Hollywood. They've already coined it. They got it all set up, and how he was such a philanthropist and loved everybody. They've
There's
got
a
it
there's a
up.
meme that was around years ago now, like probably close to a decade ago. It's called Sad Keanu, and he's sitting on a bench with his head down and his elbows on his knees. And they like
Yep.
it like evolved on the internet. They put like different people sitting next to him or different situations as to why he's sad.
Consoling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor rich Kiana. Poor rich, get whatever you want, and Warner Brothers suits, making sure you get the lead roles. Poor Kiana. Getting away with everything he did to his girlfriend and baby. Poor Kiana. Partying and drinking with his biker friends. Poor Kiana. Doing the drugs off the charts. Poor Kiana. Having it with a silver spoon and gold spoon, both. Poor Kiana. Ripping off other writers and getting away with it. Bragging behind the scenes and making all the signs. Poor Kiana. Poor Kiana. It's one of the most spoiled people on the planet. One of the spoiled, most PR'd, groomed persons on the planet.
And I still think he phoned in that third Bill and Ted movie
Sure.
because it's just for someone being an actor, you can't even channel what you did before. I
Well,
mean,
what was said about him by that wonderful comedian who's was just out there, George Carlin, said that when he was on set with Keanu Reeves, that Keanu Reeves was just kidding around, doing butt slaps and joking with locker room humor all over the place. It came time for his shot to be taken. He was joking around, ran up, did the shot, went back to joking around. There's no prep, there's no discipline, there's no doing the craft. It's just I want to get back to slapping butts again, asses, and doing locker room humor. There's no
wow.
discipline in his work at all. He's not an actor. So I would expect what's to lose then, as far as the cabal is considered. So the more we talk about him, it could be blamed, it could be said, Tom, it's your fault. When this goes down, they could say, it's your fault. You put the spotlight on him. They had to get rid of him. No, they didn't have to get rid of him. No, I didn't put the spotlight on him. I was saying what is. And he's a thief. And he's a fraud. And if he's caught, I'm not the one pulling the switch. But I am going to point out frauds and pedophiles. I'm going to point out people who kill their own. I'm going to point out people that rip off and steal. I'm going to do that so that other children are safer. So I won't be shedding tears for Kiana if this goes down. I'll be having sighs of relief for the children that won't be suffering Kiana's lust.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
No one should have to suffer.
No.
No one should have to suffer. And it's the cabal that's doing it. And we want our world back. And we want artists to be free to create. And we want to be able to live our lives with our children without snowplows crumbling on them with severe injuries. We want to be able to let our children thrive and survive and have a world that's safe from predators. and especially predators that are groomed in a film industry, along with the agencies that help steer it that way, that are ones that are supposed to be protecting us. The world's upside down. It's time to turn it right up. Get the boat righted, and let's get back to rowing the oars. Let's get back to doing good work. So
Yeah.
no, they made a mess of it. Let's get it cleaned up. You know, so we're not responsible what they do to each other, because that's what we're in the season of now, is them turning on each other, because it's all about power for them and who has influence. That's what it is. And what's interesting is whenever they call me, different players or attorneys, they always say the same thing. Is this Tom Althouse? Yeah, we're really fans of your work. We'll be fans of my heart, and be fans of the heart that I have that others share and have also. And let that be the thing that steers the ship, not your greed, not your desire for power, and not your deluded thought process that everybody's like you. We're not. And thank God we're not. And
Yeah,
we never.
I was talking with my uncle the other day about that. We were talking about people in our circles of interest for entertainment right now, for pro wrestling. So we were just talking about how not everybody thinks the way that we think.
Right.
And he was thinking about that for several days after I had said it, and he brought it back up to me. And it's like, yeah, I mean, he started noticing like, yeah, people are there's certain people that don't uh take a good look or surveillance of their surroundings when they're out in public. People can sneak up behind them and just whack them.
Mm-hmm.
That's how these knockout games happen. And it's all over in these big cities. I'm sure you've heard about that.
That's actually in here. All the Smith agent with the room monitors in this original piece that the Wachowskis lifted from. The Neo character comes up behind an agent, knocks him off behind. They never saw it. Where the agents, anything they see is in the room of monitors, right?
Oh wow.
So that's in here. That's in here. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just a total like lack of awareness of the surroundings.
right,
And it's out where I mean anybody could be around you. So
right.
why wouldn't you have your head on a swivel, especially
That's right. Especially.
like in the suburbs of a very densely populated city in
Right.
a city state type of cook. So I mean I already said I'm from Chicagoland area here in Illinois, but like Cook County is like a city state. It's so big, there's so many people there, and there's so much crime and other things obviously that have been going on, but there's good things too about the place. It's kind of watered down from all of the negativity and the bad stuff that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's still people like holding holding the sails down, holding the ship down,
Right.
making sure we're weathering the storm here while everything seems to be falling apart.
Right.
So
Well, that's it. You're going to see the bears wrestling now. I mean, these guys, the cabal is like bears wrestling. They're turning on their own. They're afraid of being revealed. It is a free for all panic. And so we have to stand back from the scuffle.
yeah, we need to be observers. We don't want to join the fight with the
We
bears. Like,
observe. That's right. That's it. Well said. We observe. Watch them
hmm
scuffle, watch them fight it out, and then we can prosecute those that are left standing.
yeah,
So, yeah. I,
and it
I
seems like it's something that they have to figure out too in their own circles. I mean,
they have to make their decisions. Yeah. See, their
it's a
playbook is that 48 ways of power or something, where it says about pick the winning team, pretend to be on both sides. And a lot of their players do that with me even. They pretend to be on both sides and then they pick the winning team, and that way you're guaranteed to win. It's a Machiavellian stage 201 course, basically. And so that was the actual only book that the honeypot wife downloaded, was that book, The 48 Ways of Power, if I'm getting it right. So that was the only book she ever downloaded. She got her own manual. That's one manual for the cabal.
wow.
So you pick the win. So there's no way there's cohesiveness. And so I was told by an insider that the FBI and the CIA, what they had planned was that my death would be inglorious. And because they're fans of the work, I'm notified of this stuff. And so I was supposed to be taken out, like you said, blindsided by an operative dressed as a homeless person. Now, what's interesting is that's also in here. So it looks like I was taken out by a homeless person. They would then argue that I did an alteration or had terrorized or something, some homeless person. And so Tom got his just dues by being taken out by a homeless person. That's how
That's
low.
wow, I'm so glad you brought that up. I believe I skipped over one thing from that listener James, and it was about the homeless people.
Yeah, that's how their agents will operate. They'll do that, guys. That's their best mode of taking people out is pretending to be homeless.
Okay, so I totally missed this, and I apologize to James and also you, Tom, for missing this one. But so okay, I'm gonna read this. That there are assassins disguised as homeless people in Keanu Reeves' John Wick movies.
Oh, there you go. They can't resist trying to be clever and putting it in there. They can't resist, can they? They can't resist.
And
That is
that's
how I'm supposed to
you're
go out.
saying, so you said it's from, you have that in the Immortals.
I have it in the Immortals, and also I was told that's the way the FBI planned for me to be exited. Keep in mind, the FBI operative, Brian Fitzpatrick, is lifelong FBI and a congressman who handles my sister and gave her these great rewards, including the entered in the congressional records. So after the last 302 attempts. So yeah, this is the FBI. Their plan for taking out citizens, Operation Northwoods, basically, next level, is pose agents as homeless. And yeah, so you're not supposed, because we're conditioned. They think as a society we're conditioned to ignore homeless people. You know, if we see a homeless person, we're going to turn the other way, so we're not looking for them asking for money or something. So right away, that what they think is our natural response or chosen response sets us up. If I see a homeless person and I act the way the FBI expects me to, then I see a homeless person. If that's you, you know, if you're that homeless person, I'm supposed to go like this. Perfect. Perfect for taking me out.
And unfortunately, that also reminds me of the first Matrix movie again, where there's a homeless drunk watching the characters go through the telephone booth,
Yes,
and then it
yes.
turns into an agent.
In here, you have the homeless person sitting in front of the steps of the central main agency's building. And Neo particularly notices him and everything. There's this scene, the sitting homeless man. So observing. So yeah,
Wow.
they just looked at everything. They thought everything was cool. And keep in mind, the Wachowskis keeping the same ending, the same exact ending of this, same sequence. And you can see that when they lift everything they think is cool and they're going off it, making up as they go along, and they decide how do we end it after they unraveled everything, took it out of context. We'll just keep the same ending he had. Is that not telltale?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
obvious?
yeah, because they don't expand on these great ideas.
No.
They just kind of be like, "Oh, check this out," and there's
Yeah.
nothing.
This is cool. This is cool. This is cool.
If it
And
was
that's what
legitly their own work, and knowing how successful it ended up being for them, apparently, this should be like a 30, 40 movies spin-off franchise.
and
Like,
they want to talk about it. They want to talk about here's
yeah,
where the scene came from in my life. Here's what inspired me for that scene. They can't. In their own fan page, Little Girl at the Train Station, they said the answer of what the little girl means, she's just a subplot. She's just a subplot? The little girl at the train station? That's what set up the satisfying ending in my piece. The little girl and her relationship with Neo is what makes a satisfying ending when she's hugging and pointing at the sun. But they keep the same ending, hugging and pointing at the sun, without the relationship? Wachowskis are idiots, absolute morons. And look again at Bound, the Bound interview online on YouTube, the Bound interview with them talking about Bound, Larry Wachowski. Just look up Larry Wachowski and Bound and look how they talk. Watch it and ask yourself, could you not write better? Anyone out there write better than the Wachowskis can? They failed as writers. They said it in the article. Yeah. Come on, world. Come on. All the evidence is there for you. In the future, people are going to understand it. They're going to get it. It'll be a known fact. They'll teach it in schools. It'll be
yeah,
nice
it'll
to be
be
able to
easier
go
for
back.
those. those
Yeah,
in
in the
the
future.
future dealing with this and
Wouldn't it be, yeah,
discussing
wouldn't
it
it be
with
nice
us and stuff.
for people now to be able to say in the future, yeah, I knew it. I'm like the guys at Walmart when I met Steve, the host, that had the courage to air this stuff. Yeah, I knew it. And it wasn't for ego for Tom and Steve, and it wasn't about ego. It was about trying to save the kids and get the truth out there. Their companies aren't called All Eyes on Me. That's SS. That's the insiders. Wachowskis. Yeah.
Yeah, and that moment in that store really opened my eyes to just how impactful you are with getting your story out there, like
Well, that means
the
a lot.
truth of what's been going on. But I think the main thing that surprised me is the shift in the consciousness where I don't have to overly explain.
Right. Right.
They know what's going on now.
So they
So
understood it. They understood
yeah,
what's going on. See,
like I didn't
that's
have to say anything and they had a reaction to your name. So like that's a big deal. Not a who's
that
that? Huh? What?
that is why the cabal is in full panic. Keep in mind, I was groomed to lead within the cabal. Again, I was groomed to lead within the cabal, just like Keanu Reeves was groomed. So that meant I felt the mantle of responsibility to make a difference since I was groomed to lead within the cabal. That's like Hunt for Red October. That's like Hunt for Red October with Sean Connery. I was driving the sub.
Yeah,
Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
yeah,
Thanks for making it possible. You
yeah.
guys
It's
are the heroes. You hosts are the heroes. You are the heroes. It wouldn't be a story without the person that makes the book possible, that makes the knowledge out. Then their strategy wins, you know. And thank you for seeing it through. It's great.
yeah, it was difficult to make the choice to reach out to you.
Sure.
But the reason it was difficult was weighing the implications of being associated with you in terms of like doing the interviews and having you as a guest.
Sure. I can
And
feel
I mean it was a little uh concerning at first thinking about what the people that are trying to maintain their power would do to people like
oh, it's
me.
damn right scary. It's damn right
Yeah,
scary. They mean it to be. They mean it to
but
be.
you
But
know,
they're learning they don't have the power anymore. Yeah.
like so I found you a little over a year ago, and it's uh it's become more than just like a oh we're gonna like stick it to the man type of thing. Like
Right.
we're having real conversations here, and it's not buzzwords. We're really jumping into all this stuff, and what your memory is impeccable. I was on Google earlier when we were going and looking through the browsers and stuff
Mm-hmm.
with Mike Lang, and you had that March date right on the money. I
Cool.
was looking right at it on my screen, and you recited it, and I'm like, I know you're not watching my screen. It's just
Right. Right.
you know a lot of information, and
Right.
I mean
And
it's part
Disney
of you
called
being gifted with everything with your skills and I mean
that's why Disney calls me the library, and that's why Mike Bob Iger was going to have that contact meeting and try to bring So yeah, you're thank you, but yeah, that's why they call it that.
yeah, and I was my business from doing the independent video work for other clients and stuff. Um, that's changed so dramatically too over the past few years that I think that also helped me put myself in a position where I can be vulnerable and talk with you about these things without fearing repercussion. There's nothing there's you can't threaten me with like pulling business away from me because everything that I was doing business wise has changed.
Right.
Like and it's not all in one central location, so they can't just like cut the cord and have everything drop off for me. But like I don't have all my eggs in one basket, I guess is
Right,
what I'm saying.
right.
And I never thought YouTube would keep me on, but I mean, here we are 6 interviews in.
I think they respect the combination. They respect you, and I think that people are fans of the work, the and evidence and everything else. I think that is starting to take hold where people go, why are we steering against this when we do want a better world? When we do want the art, entertainment. Why does Disney be the only one that says you got to give us your stuff? Why
Yeah,
not everybody have it? And we all raise up together and we all create together. Why not that? We have free choice. Free choice. You know.
yeah, and I think with us making these choices to expose the evil
Hmm.
and the bad players, the egomaniacs,
Hmm.
and continuing to put pressure on them, I think that is what is helping us move
Oh,
closer to that better tomorrow, so to speak.
couldn't agree more because they actually respect that. Think of it. People that are all about power respect courage that stands up to their power. They really do.
I mean, I hope that some of this stuff we're talking about is humbling them, because I mean, look what happened when they tried to cross you. Like, you're still here,
Right.
and that probably scares the daylights out of them.
Someone has to pay for that. And that example of them paying for that is going to be what tries to have them keep the other people in line. But it also sends a message that don't mess with us all. We are the people that are actually creative geniuses, visionaries, will stick to the task because we do it for different reasons than they do. We do it because we want a better world. And in their own filmmaking, they have to do it basically, by and large, have these very characters act the way we do for their audiences to be pleased with the work, the films they put out. So they're actually dictating the very things we stand for in order to make their films sell, which tells us which side the public will ultimately be on when the truth is out and the real life films are made. What
Yeah,
side of,
and
yeah.
there's still time for these other people to have ego death
That's right.
and come forward and share what they know and their experiences and what they were put through as well. And
Well said.
I still
Well
I'm
said.
hoping more people will
Well,
come to that point.
let's just lay it out there. Mel Gibson, Keanu Reeves. I'm told that our stuff is monitored and they are apprised of what we say. That's how tight this is and how much they panic the other side. Mel
Wow.
Gibson, Keanu Reeves, whoever passes along, or they watch themselves. Let them know, guys, you got your choice. Get rid of the ego. Actually, be the good guys, and you'll be held up in the real life story. You'll be known for generations to come as those that had the courage to do something rather than being cowards.
Yeah.
Make the choice. You still have time. You're still breathing. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I would like to end today's interview here because this is on
I,
a very high note. Um, I know I messaged in an email to you about other topics to talk about,
sure.
but we'll talk about that in the next one. We'll give it as a little teaser for now.
I love it.
Um, Basically, we were going to be talking about suppressed technology and government experiments in the past,
Mhm.
and I mean possibly in the present too. But as of right now, it's basically we were going to cover some technology that was developed and then has been suppressed since then, and that covers like the 6 or 7 different names that I sent you.
I'm
So,
looking forward to doing it. I will look forward to doing that too because Tony Blair just did an interview yesterday talking about that very thing with Haig about that very topic, how
oh
England, UK is going to lead the way on artificial intelligence, everything else, as a state crafted strategy to put the UK ahead. So that was Tony Blair talking. So it's a
wow,
timely, perfectly timed topic for another time here. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure as always, Tom. You're always welcome on my show. And I don't know if I've said that before, but I want you to know that like this channel's wide open for you, and even if we move to a different platform, I'm still willing to sit down and do this. It's my video. Like, YouTube can't say that they own it. I
Right.
mean, us recording it here, I mean, this is our intellectual property, so to speak,
Right.
and it will get re-uploaded. I mean,
Good.
like I said, I don't have my eggs in one basket anymore. There's
Good.
5 other video platforms that I'm
That's
putting all
very,
this on.
very good.
So,
Like our legacies are sound and based out of a genuine nature and good choices. And that's what we can feel really good about. I can look my son in the eye and feel no regret and feel very good that even students come up in the hall to him and like they're honored to meet the guy who's dad. It's wonderful. But the thing is that we have nothing to look back on and regret. And that is the way to go down the road. That is the way to do your journey.
yes,
So I look forward to next time. And maybe, who knows? Maybe some of these players we mentioned will have some new choices. Maybe they have something to think about right now. So thank you, Stephen.
yeah, yeah, and thank you, Tom. Thank you for being here. So, till next time.
Next time.